Welcome to Chess, ladies and gentlemen. All right, man, I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. So as you guys probably maybe know, we got the World Chess Championship for 2024 going on right now. So we have Gukesh Dommaraju versus Ding Liren. And, Ding Liren is a new world champion, but he's the defender. Gukesh is the challenger, for those of you that might not know. This is game number 1 played today. And for those of you who play the French defense, you are going to love this game because it'll give you some hope. Because the French is a winning opening. So all of my people that are coming from the Philippines, as always, maraming salamat. Anybody who is coming up from India, I will say nandri. Anybody who is coming from China, I will say shishini. And if you guys are ready to go, man, let's take a look and see what we got for this game, son. All right, man, so we got the move e4, and then we have e6, the French defense. No! Not the French. It's going to be a draw. It's not going to be a draw. I promise you that. We got the move d4. This is by far going to be the most common way that you play the game. We got the move d5. So pretty much, if you're trying to win with either side, you're going to be playing in this fashion. Not any of that gambit craziness. We got knight going to c3, and this is the classical normal variation. Most common way that the French is played. We do see knight to f6. We got e5. We got knight f to d7. And we have the classical Steinitz variation. 9 times out of 10, when you play into this variation, it's going to kind of go as so. You got the move f4. You do have the option of going knight to f3 first before f4. But, I mean, you are kind of trying to attack on the king side. So f4 is a really good move. It also reinforces e5. And for the white side, e5 is by far the most important pawn. I mean, you can kind of afford to lose the d4 and even kind of trade this here like that. But you absolutely, under no circumstances, can lose e5. That is a bad thing. We got the move c5, and then we have knight c to e2. Some of you guys might be wondering, all right, wait a minute. Like knight to f3, right? Like, why am I going knight back to c2 like I'm blocking the bishop? Well, like I just got done saying a second ago, it's very, very important that you protect this square. So one of the ideas, the main idea behind knight c to e2 is just to immediately go c3. It is an idea when you play like the advanced variation because you have this here and you don't have a knight played. Usually play c3 and then knight to f3. You are just trying to make sure that when you, if black decides to start kind of chipping away at your pawn chain, you have a pawn that can replace this pawn, that can help this pawn. So basically all of white's play is around trying to construct a really, really solid structure and have as much space as possible. And like I said, just kind of steamroll black over here. So we do see knight going to c6. We got the move c3. And then we do see the move a5. Now the crazy thing about a5 is it is kind of like middle of the pack. As far as the database is concerned, but the computer really, really loves it. It suggested it in the top 3, along with like moves like bishop e7, stuff like that, just getting castled, which is by far going to be the heavy way that you play. But I mean, like I said before, white is trying to kind of do some pawn rolls over here, some pawn pushes, some pawn breaks, and you see black is kind of trying to do this the same thing, but over here on the queen side. So a5 is very thematic and in line with what black is wanting to do. We got knight to f3. We got the move a4, just gaining more space. Also, we are clearing the way for a possible queen to a5 situation. We got bishop to e3. We got bishop to e7. And then we do see the move g4. And now, like I said, I mean, white is trying to attack on the king side. Black is trying to attack on the queen side. The only one thing about this move, it does give a little bit to black. And the major thing about the situation is black has not yet committed themselves to castling anywhere. So this move is just a little bit better placed when the king has already committed to the king side. And then you can start doing a lot of these pushes like, just all over the place over here and start ripping the position open. So, Ding, especially because the position is very closed, they can kind of just sit around and wait and say, hey, man, I mean, I don't feel like g4 is a good move, son. But it's not bad. We do see the move queen to a5. Now, the major idea behind this move is, like I said, playing c3, you're wanting to capture c takes d4 if, c takes d4 here. Right now, the queen is pinning this pawn down. And so that kind of does make you think a little bit about the one tempo that you used to push the move g4. It's not really doing a lot at the moment, so it kind of wasted a crucial tempo for white in this position. So we do see bishop going to g2. We see the move a3 trying to further weaken the pawns over here on the queen side. And you kind of start to get into a position where you have a good position if you're white, but you do kind of have to start finding only moves. We do see the move b3. We got pawn taking d4. And like I said, that pawn is pinned to the king. So we cannot take up back with, the pawn here. So we do really have to throw the move b4 in to knock the queen away to get rid of the pin. And then we see queen coming back to c7, and then we do see knight e taking d4. And really, kind of everything is everything if you are white. You really just kind of have to get your king out of the center. That's kind of always a thing. It is starting to kind of become a little bit more open, so you got to really be trying to get that in. We got knight going to b6. We got castles by white. So, I mean, everything looks like it's really going good for Gukesh. They are a little bit further ahead than black. Black kind of still has to, figure out how to get these pieces out and where they're going to castle at. We got knight going to c4. This is actually a nice attack hitting that bishop that we have in the center of the board. The bishop goes back to f2, and then we do see bishop to d7. So you can see that, I mean, it's fairly even, bro. Both players, have pretty much gotten all their minor pieces out. The queen just kind of needs to come maybe somewhere. And I mean, like I said, because the position is still somewhat closed, and the king has a lot of protection around it, the black king is actually doing pretty well. So, everything is everything for both sides. We do see the move queen to e2, and then we have knight taking d4. And this is actually the point in the game where you do have a very critical decision that you have to make. What do you capture back with? Obviously, if you take c takes d4, you are looking at, a possible immediate bishop takes b4. So we kind of throw that away as an option. So that pretty much leaves you with knight takes or bishop takes, and they are both not created equally. It is a little bit better just to keep things solid to go bishop takes d4. But Gukesh is definitely very much thinking of trying to get this f5 move in to try to get some counterplay, maybe shut down moves like f6 that black is wanting to do. Because right now, like I said, the king is stuck in the center. So you kind of want to rip the position open if you are white. So we do see him go that move, but we have Ding actually come up with a very, very nice idea. And it is all owing to the fact that this pawn has made it all the way down to the square a3. We do see the move knight to b2, and this is a very strong idea. There's definitely some moves that you can make in this position to kind of counteract what black is doing. It's not like it's a bad position yet, but it has very much equalized. We do see the move queen to e3, and this does allow Ding to just start to not chip away, but hit some points in the white position. Most notably, this c3 pawn. Basically, you kind of have to hold this c3 pawn for dear life because it is supporting this pawn here. And if these pawns fall, you will be looking at a pawn storm coming. So you have to really kind of go in defensive mode. So that is what we see Gukesh do. We got rook a to c1. We got queen down to c4. And the crazy thing about this position is Liren is finding literally everything in the position. Queen to c4 is beautiful. It does hit this pawn on a2. It is threatening to start to kind of infiltrate here. If you can get this queen right here, you got the rook and the queen both hitting c3. So all of black's focus right now is hitting this backward pawn that white has in their position. We do see the move f5. We got queen down to d3 like I said. They are trying to continue to chip away at this point right here. Double attack c3. We do see queen avoiding a trade right here going to e1. We see bishop to g5. And like I said, Ding is pretty much finding everything. So Gukesh is kind of running out of moves. You don't really have a lot of attractive moves. You're really kind of having to find only moves in this position. So we do see the move rook to c2. And we have actually reached a point in the game that if you want to try to figure out what move Liren plays in this position, go ahead and do so. Okay, so this is not the absolute best move. The absolute best move is just to simply castle because, I mean, you're not really worried about white ripping the position open, But we do see a really nice move that Liren plays in this position. And it is just kind of a very simple threat behind it. If you found the move rook to c4, you would be correct. It would be a strong move. Like I said, castles is the best, but there's a very simple idea behind it. So if you thought of this move, you did notice that there really isn't a whole lot holding this rook on c2 other than this knight, and there is a way to try to remove it. If you can go rook takes d4, I mean, after something like pawn takes or even bishop takes, whatever, the queen is going to be snacking on a rook for free. So that is a very serious threat that white is going to have to do something about. So we do see the move h4 trying to drum up a little bit of counterplay real quick. We do see bishop f4. So h4, it wasn't a bad move, but it didn't really accomplish all that much. The bishop just said, I'm just going to move. I'm good. And then we do see queen going to b1. And you really kind of have to allow c3 to fall so that you can save your rook. So we do see rook taking c3, rook taking c3. We got queen taking c3. Pawn taking e6, pawn taking e6. Now, it was a whole lot better to take with the bishop in this position, not open up that file. But, I mean, you know, Ding, like I said, is in a position where, I mean, he doesn't have to find only moves. He has, like, a lot of options, so, I mean, he's good to go. So, after the pawn takes e6, we got knight down to e2. Now, we are starting to kind of give some pawns if we are Gukesh, but I mean, you know, we're kind of drumming up a little bit of counterplay. There's definitely some options in the position. So we got queen taking e5, knight taking f4, queen taking f4, and Gukesh is currently down 2 pawns. A really nice idea in the position that is definitely deemed the best is the move bishop to c5. You would probably see queen taking here, you know, and you have like, you know, a little bit of threats, maybe some checkmates and stuff like that, but they are actually easily defended. So we got queen going to c2. Now, we are basically telling black that if you want to munch on this pawn, it's going to come at a little bit of a price because I'm going to be able to start kind of infiltrating my queen in the position. And you do kind of have a discovery here if you are white. So you do kind of got to be a little careful. But like I said a minute ago, we got Ding pretty much finding all the best moves. And what better thing to try to do in a position where you were up 2 pawns than trade queens. Also, you really need to get castled if you are black. If you can get castle, I mean, you basically just completely win the game. There really isn't a whole lot of tricks that white has up their sleeve. So we do see queen sidestepping over to d2. And then we see castles by black. And like I said, I mean, you know, you pretty much have everything is everything. You got this rook opposite this rook. So there really isn't like any, you know, discover attacks and stuff like that. You can always trade if you're black. We got bishop going to d4. We got knight up to d3, continuing to find all the best moves. Queen goes to e3, and then we do see a nice series of moves. Rook takes f1 with check. We got bishop taking f1, kind of trying to pin the knight, but we do see the move e5, and now you're going to have to move your bishop somewhere. You also have this counter attack right here, but we are trying to get this bishop out of the way so that we can take this pawn right here with check. So we do see bishop taking e5. Queen takes g4 with check. We do see the bishop covering here. But now basically what we have a chance to do as black is the one piece that's really not participating much is this bishop. So now we have the opportunity to bring it in play with some oomph. And we do see the move bishop to f5. We got bishop back to g3, desperately trying to cover the king. We got bishop to e4. And this is going to be forcing some trades. The king sidesteps over to h2. We got the move h6. Just creating a little bit of lift. I mean, you know, Ding is like, bro, you know, I got some time. I don't have to rush nothing. We are about to hit move 40. Kind of low on time, though. We got bishop going to h3. The queen goes down to d1. Why not threaten checkmate on h1? So we have the bishop going to d6. And now we have given our king a little bit of room. We got queen to c2 with check. The king goes up to g3. We got queen taking a2, and now Gukesh is down 3 entire pawns. We got bishop to e6 with check. And we have actually reached a position that I have kind of another guess the move. You have 2 options here. You have the king sliding over to h8, or you have the king coming down to h7. Go ahead and pause the video and try to guess which move is best. Go ahead and do so right now. Okay, bro. So neither one, I'll tell you this, neither one of them is lost. But one of them is like horribly worse than the other because it basically allows a draw. If you guess the move king to h8, you would be absolutely correct. This is the correct move. It doesn't allow any drawing opportunities. It basically just, you know, forces you in a position where actually Gukesh did resign the game in this position. So there was one like little trick that you had in this position. If you did guess king to h7, no, because you actually have a check, and this does allow a draw. The queen is going to be taking on e4 check, and you have to take back in this position. If not, you're going to be losing too much material. The pawn takes e4, and then the bishop takes a2, and this does. Not only are you up a piece if you are white, you do have a lot of pawns if you are black, so white is basically going to be forced to give away a bishop for 2 pawns at some point, but you are able to draw this position right here. So king to h8 was the absolute best move, and then like I said, it is in this position that Gukesh resigns the game. Now they did get their 30 plus minutes and stuff in this position, but this is just a very dire position to be playing if you are black. You know, at some point, white is probably going to be winning this pawn. Everything is really just held in the center of the board. You have way too many pawns, and you can always sidestep and start to try to push this pawn, stuff like that. So it is a very miserable position to be playing, even with 25 minutes left. So that is that position. Maraming salamat the king makaibigan po sa nanonood inga king ma video. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. If you are coming from the Philippines, anybody who is coming up from India, I will say Vanakkam and Nandri. Let me see, is it Valadi? Valadi Nandri? I think that's how you say thank you very much. But I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. As always, anybody that is coming from China, I will say ni hao, and shishini, and wito jian. And I'm going to see you guys next time.